And
the Facilities Committee of the Fallbrook Regional Health District on the 13th of May will come to order. And let's see, do we do a roll call or not?
Yes, because you're remote.
Okay.
Director Canseco? Here. Director Salmon?
Here.
Thank you.
So, actually, while I pull up my agenda on the other thing, would you please proceed, Rachel?
Sure. So public comments. Roy, Roy has nothing. We have no one else on Zoom, and I didn't receive anything via email. So I'll move us over to discussion item A, which really pretty much almost everything is ongoing projects at the Wellness Center. So first one is under A is Building A, Room 2, Encinitas Design Group updates. I actually had a meeting with Todd Coleman, the architect, yesterday. They had reapplied for permitting at the county, and the county, that side said, you finished your major use permit thing. Maybe we should do a consultation. So I think there was a left hand, right hand lack of communication. So I met with Todd. We communicated to the county on both sides, the land use planning people who were holding up the previous major use permit that gave us the okay that yes, that's been completed, and the plan check permitting people that Todd was working with. The goal is to not have to do another initial consultation because that's a $3,000 submission basically. So we're hoping that we can just say major use has been completed. We don't need to have an initial consultation with the county. We know what the requirements are and to start the permit process. So I'm hoping by next time we hold this meeting that we'll have some resolution on that next step.
Good. I'm hoping so as well.
Yeah, because once the plans go through plan check and they have the basic permit for that, then we can put together RFP for a general contractor to start the actual construction on the teaching kitchen. So.
Yeah, I think we're all anxious to see that. So good luck, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
So for item B is Building B, which are the updates. And I don't know, Teresa, do you want to run through everything between the gutters, B3, B6, and the restrooms?
Okay, so yeah, maybe we'll go around the building. So room B3, which is the end one on the front side of the building, has gotten a facelift. There was a sink in there that was removed. The flooring was replaced. It was very much needed to happen. The walls were painted. So that looks very, fresh and welcoming, which will be perfect timing as we need more space once we're preparing for building A. So the master plan is coming together in good timing. So then we go around the corner, and the other building on the back side of the building is room B6, and that's the one with the internal restrooms that had the little itty bitty baby toilets. So that is coming along great. So that space is turning out to be just really great. So the long bathrooms, because they have the long bathrooms with multiple stalls from when it was a school. So those were shortened and made into single, use, single users, bathrooms. I'm just trying to
gender neutral.
Gender neutral. That's the word I was looking for. Gender neutral. And so behind that, we got some space. And so we're making it into like a prep room type area, which might have some really fun when it's all finished off, like the possibilities and uses as a space for family programming. Because you could have some kids doing a quiet activity, you have the parents in the same room, so we're not getting into who's, watching the kids and the liability with that and background checks. And the bathrooms are right there. Across from the bathrooms was an odd space that was there that would be odd to use across from the bathrooms, all part of the same room. That's been made into its own room that we'll use for storage. So we'll have some extra storage for that side of the building. So it's coming along great. And then the gutters have been a problem for a while, leaking, and we tried to
And not
move
just,
them along.
not just leaking.
Oh, they fell
Literally,
off.
it had rusted.
Yes.
The downspout had rusted from the gutter and had fallen away from the building.
Yes.
So there was literally just a hole in the gutter.
Yeah, it was bad. So those gutters have been replaced. So there's a little bit, a couple of little leaks still happening. It's gonna have to do something more with the way the water's running off the roof, and that's being addressed, as well as the other gutters, I guess you could say, were kind of, over-engineered. They came out in a weird way, so there's like a slight space between the two that we're fixing too, so that everything is tight in the building. So it's coming along. It is almost done. Everything for that building. Bathrooms are done, so that's been great. Yeah, so a lot of
Wow.
progress. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good job.
Once B6 is completed, that is the end of all the big upgrades to building B.
Mhm.
So the only thing we would do to building B at that point is the interior workroom for the staff still needs a refresh, but those are much smaller projects. And doesn't affect the community's ability to use the rooms.
Mhm. The group that we awarded the contracts to is also our maintenance group, and they've been great to work with. They've been very considerate of using the space and being able to remain open while these projects are going on, and have been fitting in all kinds of other little maintenance things, around that job. So they've been really great.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Well, that's great news.
Yeah.
Happy
So we'll jump to C unless you guys have questions on building B at all.
No, let's hear about C.
Okay.
More good
So-
news, I hope.
Building C is the house. And we have been kind of just putting this off while we were trying to figure out what to do, primarily with building A. Now that it looks like building A can start to go into the permit process, again, I spoke with the architect, and we know that room 1, which is the old sanctuary part, we had more cosmetic changes to that, right? Adding in some different style windows, a different set of doors, kind of a covered walkway. So I talked with Todd, our architect, about that. He agreed that that's a fairly easy fix. So what we may be doing is bringing that along as we're starting to look at the work for A2. That will allow building A to kind of be addressed all at one time. That then brings into play building C, which has been our albatross, right? The entire front entryway will have to be redesigned and rebuilt because it's not ADA accessible. The front threshold, the front door, all of that. The whole backyard, the back entrance to it also has to be reworked. Okay, well, we knew the restroom had to be worked. Well, that's the house. So Teresa and I, now that she's really seen how programming is happening there, and I know we've kind of talked about this briefly in the past, what we're talking about doing is the interior walkway. When you first walk into the house, you have this little family room off to the left. Then you walk in, and to the right is the kitchen and the main dining room, if you will. And then to the left of that, you had two bedrooms and the bathroom on the one side. So by taking out that one bedroom, and we're pretty sure from what we've seen initially, that those are not internal load-bearing walls, and that entire bedroom can come out. That would create a giant open space in the house, which would be ideal for the district's programming. So our lifestyle change programs, the diabetes self diabetes prevention program, the diabetes self-management program, potentially chair yoga, maybe some mindfulness, a number of the different programs that the district operates or that the district is contracting to do could stay in the house. That would allow one of our staff, depending which one of the coordinators it fits, to also be in that space, and then let the other rooms be open all the time for community programming, different classes, all that. It just gives us much more open multi-user space. So that's what we're going to start to investigate going down that path. We'll have to get architect involved for all the ADA components. So once we know exactly where we're standing with building A, we'll probably put out a brief RFP for more architectural services. We won't have to, but we probably should. Since Todd Coleman knows the property really well, he's excited to potentially work on that building as well. So we're going to start moving that direction, preparing that RFP with this concept in mind, since Teresa's seen how programming is working there and the best use of the space. So that's, while it's still conceptual, that's the avenue we think that we're going to go down.
Wow, that sounds neat. It's been long enough that we've owned that building. What was our original, and perhaps until we've rethought it at this point, what were we going to do with it?
As far as I know, there's never been a plan.
Okay.
There was some consideration of if it would be other surfaces in the offices, but it's really not,
Right.
those bedrooms are not a good use of space. One can stay for storage, the other one, because you're down this hallway, you can't see who's
Right.
entering the building. You can't be, it requires, even having partners there, it's almost like someone has to be there
Yeah.
to welcome people or to,
Right.
it just hasn't really worked out. So no matter what, I think that will make the space so much more usable, because that front room isn't just big enough. The kitchen area isn't really just big enough. Well, now we would have that extra space.
Right. And I forgot, you're right. We had talked about that being
Yeah.
kind of a co-working space for
Yeah.
different services to come
Yes.
up, but it just hasn't been that's how it would work. And then the more we look at the layout, it's
Yeah.
not
The last time that I recall being in there, Michelle's place was using it.
right. And so we've already adjusted how Michelle's Place does stuff, because they weren't seeing the same number of people at a pace where them having a satellite navigator office just didn't make sense.
Gotcha.
Now what they're doing is they're doing a lot more support group, much more education, which puts them back into the big rooms. The one-on-one navigation, a lot of the times the client will meet with Katia first, and then she does a soft handoff to their Temecula location. And then that person can kind of get all those services there. And then those other follow-up services end up being in the larger classrooms.
Okay, that's good. And so what you didn't say, which I think you implied, is when we use the house for the programming that you've discussed, that also frees up other space in building B, right?
In building B, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
So it'll give us just, I think, a lot more flexibility.
It will, and as we look forward to programming, it would give us a space when it's programs where we have our stuff and things, that go with the program. Because right now, each of those rooms are multi-use. People are coming and going. There's not really a place like for us to store our stuff. So that would give us also a space for these different programs, like to have that office in the front. We already kind of use for the diabetes programs, but we could expand out and have our own yoga stuff that other people aren't using, and other programs that we can't even think about today. It would give us storage in an area for it to not be crossed with community use.
And or have to be shuttled from one side of the property to the other side of the property, back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be wonderful. So best estimate as to when it could be done?
I'm not sure I can even give you a done. I think I can say we could imagine going into actual architectural design by spring of 27.
Okay,
I think that's probably reasonable because we want to get through building A's design first
sure.
and then probably go into building C design, which means 2027
Yeah,
could be a little bit of a crossover construction year for building A and design for building C.
gotcha. Well, if that's what it has to be, that's what it has to be. That's just, but it's a, the concept you've described is exciting, and so can't wait to see it.
Yeah, should be good.
Yeah.
Are you doing
All right.
anything with the garage at all?
So, Roy asked about the garage of the house. We're gonna keep the garage as district, storage. The truck fits in there. We want to keep the truck covered. It's gonna keep it lasting longer and keeps our insurance rates lower on it. It allows also for all the storage that we use for promotional stuff, tabling events, our pop-ups, extra tables, all those things. And it can be locked separately from any of the other facility users in there. Yeah.
That's
Anything else?
great. So if there's no other questions or comments about that, shall we talk about pollinators?
Yeah, let's talk about the pollinator preserve. So I've shown briefly, and did we have a picture of it in the? Oh no,
We
it's in
did
the,
not in
it's in
this
the
one.
last, yeah.
Last.
It's so I went back to Mission Resource. They went back to Landscape One and their own internal team, and they have redesigned the space to really maximize the educational component of the pollinator preserve. So that we can use the space, keep it pretty, but then they can also use it for education around the pollinators.
Good.
They're close to having a final proposal to me. They had to go back to Landscape One about some of the boulders and the rocks and some irrigation. Mission Resource has some grant funding that they're going to put toward this project, which will purchase a lot of the plants and the mulch and things, which is obviously awesome. So they're supposed to get that proposal to me in time for our June facilities meeting. So at the next meeting, we should have that proposal from them. I think we can anticipate probably 30,000 for that space. And that should include the land work, irrigation work, rocks, plants, and all the other little features. And we're talking some additional trees, some large,
Sure.
a few mature trees, and mostly younger trees, so that everything can grow into that space in a more natural setting. So it won't be overplanted from day one.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's,
good.
their design is beautiful. It's really nice. Reworking it, they came back with some ideas that really allow for an area where you're gonna be able to talk more about the butterflies and things. And then another area that's more specific to honeybees. And another area that's just more specific to some of the native plants. This will be a mix of California natives and a few other more ornamental plants, so that it will be attractive year round, but will still have the native component, which in the future, give it a couple of years, we probably won't have to use irrigation on it except for during the most extreme dry seasons. So that's the goal and the plan for that. And they're working through all of their resources to make that possible.
Well, Annabelle should be delighted.
Are they adding any more, like you said, how they changed the space? 'Cause I know at the original one, they had a bench.
Yes.
So adding like,
That bench will still stay there. There's a small little walkover bridge, if you will. It's not a bridge because we wanted to keep it accessible, but there's a couple other pocket areas where you can kind of step out and get just a little more information about it. So that should be good.
Good. Well, are there any additional board comments or agenda items for the future? Hearing none, shall we adjourn and get ready for the board meeting?
Sounds good.
So adjourned. See you in a bit.
Okay. All right, we'll
Thank
see you in
you,
a few. Perfect.
So Annabelle, how was the class this morning?
So we're gonna hang up on you, Howard. Oh, yeah, he's gone.
I think he's got,
Hey,
oh, you still recording?
no.
Dead. Okay.